Welcome to Glorious Botafogo, your number one source of Botafogo news in English. And what a late Sunday, early Monday morning we had because Botafogo last night, well, it was still night for me, but it was Monday morning in Brazil, announced on its social media pages and on the website that Renato Paiva is no longer the manager at the club. I was definitely taken by surprise when I saw this. But if you think about some of the previous videos that I made, if you think about some of the uh, criticisms I had towards Renato Paiva, um, it's not that surprising. And I think that the last straw was the way the Botafogo played versus Palmeiras. Before I go any further into it, this is the Newton Santos shirt that I got from Foot Fanatics. So if you want some Botafogo gear and it will ship worldwide, go on to Foot Fanatics and use the code Glorious10. It'll get you 10% off on any purchase. And today is the 18th anniversary of Botafogo stadium, the Newton Santos Stadium, which is why I'm also wearing this shirt. So go get yourself some Botafogo gear at footfanatics.net. We all know that John Texer likes what it's called the Botafogo way. Is for teams to have fast center backs, even faster fullbacks that are known for knowing how to play with the ball on their feet, be able to build up, fast forwards, players that are good with the ball, build up, offensive, aggressive style of play. And, John Texer's been saying this since day one. Since day one, right? Which is one of the reasons why he fired Anderson Moreira when Botafogo got promoted from the Serie B back to the Serie A. And is precisely the reason why he fired Renato Paiva. When Renato Paiva arrived at Botafogo, he tried to mimic what Arthur Jorge was doing and was slowly trying to implement the ways that he likes to play. And the way that he likes to play is not that aggressive way that Texter wants. And he was already, right? This information comes from Canal do Medeiros, from Medeiros channel. John Texter was already fed up with the way the Botafogo lost to Capital. John Texter was fed up with the way that Renato Paiva was playing with three defensive center mids, fed up against the way Botafogo played against Seattle Sounders. And then the last straw was 100% the match versus Palmeiras, because I said here on this channel, Botafogo played very cowardly. It was a coward-like posture by Renato Paiva. Players did not agree the way that we played against Palmeiras. And now some info from Sport TV saying that some players, although they didn't agree with how they played against Palmeiras, they didn't think it was grounds for firing Renato Paiva, which has, in some ways, I don't know how true that is, right? Renato Paiva came out and gave a quick interview just by phone call or by text to André Rizek from Sport TV. And Rizek is probably the biggest name in that channel, which is associated with Globo. Rizek said that Paiva and his staff and the players were all caught by surprise, and that the staff of the club and the players themselves were caught with their mouths wide open. Apparently, there are also some rumors going around that Texter also was, that Paiva was not playing the Botafogo way, and that Texter was trying to tell Paiva how to play his players and where to play the players. And John Texter came out and said that is not true. So all of this within, 12 hours. So it's a lot of stuff. But Renato Paiva is no longer the manager of Botafogo. He already has the contract to sign that says Botafogo and Renato Paiva are no longer affiliated, no longer attached. Paiva's lawyer is already looking into all of it. So it's I'm pretty sure that by the end of the week, Botafogo and Renato Paiva are no longer going to be affiliated. Which, again, nothing against Paiva. He just wasn't the guy, man. And I told you guys this before. He's not the guy. He's not the guy. He's just not the guy that John Texter likes. He doesn't play the Botafogo way. He's just not it. Arthur Jorge was the guy, right, that played the Botafogo way, the hyper offense. Unfortunately, Arthur Jorge left. which is interesting because not too long ago, Bastos Kinsanga posted a picture on Instagram of him and Arthur Jorge hugging each other after the firing of Renato Paiva. So could it be that Arthur Jorge is coming back? It's all speculation. We don't know. There are quite a few managers that have been linked to Botafogo before the signing of Renato Paiva that were linked before Arthur Jorge that are free in the market right now. Carvalhal, Conceição, Arthur Jorge is free again. So we'll see. I think that for Textor to let go of Arthur Jorge of Renato Paiva so quickly, he must have something kind of already happening behind the scenes. There's no way he's going to go 2 months without now finding a manager. And I think that because there are so many of the managers that he likes available on the market, that it should not take much longer than Thursday for Botafogo to announce a manager, because on Friday the club and the players will return to the Lonier Training Center for the preparations of the Brasileirão, because we already play Vasco da Gama coming up. It should be on the July 12th. So there will be some time for this new manager to work, and hopefully work fast. There are players on the team that weren't happy with where they were playing, the way that we were playing. I think it's pretty obvious that Savarino is one of them. Always posting stuff like number 10, saying that he's number 10. He's not a winger. He's the guy that thinks, and so on. It's really it's kind of like a hurricane just kind of went over the Botafogo HQ and kind of threw everything up in the air, just like it's been happening at Olympique Lyonnais. And John Textor officially is no longer attached to the day-to-day operations at Olympique Lyonnais. John Textor is no longer the CEO of OL and no longer the president at OL. The new appointed CEO of OL is Michael Gellinger, and the new president of OL is Michelle Kang. The Korean-American businesswoman is now, I think for the very first time, a team from France has a female president, which we all know that John Textor and France did not work, right? It just didn't work. Whoever is, takes care of all the political aspects of things behind the scenes, leadership behind the scenes of not only the league and of the other teams as well. John Textor, he came out and said that he thought they had the wrong approach, and his approach just didn't work, and it didn't gel well with whoever is in charge of French football, or the people. There's more than one in charge of French football. His personality clashed with PSG's owner, and it clashed with the NCG. So hopefully this new leadership with Gerlinger and Kang can bring some peace and stability back to OL, because a healthy OL is good for Eagle football. Olympique Lyonnais has to stay in League One for everything to go smoothly at Eagle football. John Textor still is the CEO of Eagle football, although Aris management probably is looking at Eagle football very closely and is looking at John Textor very closely, that he doesn't create any more problems than creating solutions for the problems that already exist, which there's problems at Molenbeek, which is now Daring Brussels, and John Textor really hasn't come out and said anything about the supporters of Molenbeek, not wanting the identity change, and they're very passionate about it. They do not want this new identity change that came unilaterally. Anyways, it came solely from John Textor and nobody else. He didn't consult anybody. He just straight up said, we're changing it. So tough days for John Textor at Eagle football. He said on an interview that he's going to be much more active at the day-to-day operations of Botafogo now that he's no longer going to be in France as much as he used to. Honestly, I don't see John Textor going back to France unless his presence is really needed, which is probably not going to be very much, because Olympique Lyonnais fans and supporters do not like Textor anymore. Majority of them hate him, and majority of them now hate Botafogo for the sole fact that John Textor is now going to be paying more attention to Botafogo. And Textor is very open about how Botafogo is his heart project and all of this. So I am very friendly with a lot of the OL pages on X and Mika from the YouTube channel and also the page from X. But there are a lot of OL fans that are being super hostile and super ugly to me and other Botafogo fans on X. And to those people, you can beat it. You can whatever. You don't have to follow the club. You can just go right along, you know. But you were still part of Eagle football, whether you like it or not. Still part of it. So you can say whatever you want at the end of the day, unless Aries management comes in and just takes complete control. You're still gonna be one way or another associated to John Texture, and mind keep in mind that Botafogo's success still affects Olympique Lyonnais in some way, so as the success of Molenbeek and the success of OL. So you don't have to like it that you're in this boat with us, but you just have to accept that you're in the boat with us. And there's, as of right now, nothing you can do about it. Things can change, sure. John Texter can be kicked out, and Eagle football can be diluted, and Aries management puts Botafogo up for sale, and John Texter is just, you know, he just gets screwed out of the whole situation. It could happen. Not, and that would, honestly, to me, to us, I think it would be pretty devastating, because then we would have no control of who takes over Botafogo. But I think the best solution for Botafogo, for Olympique Lyonnais, from Olympique right now is to band together and to not create more problems than, the problems that already exist. Quit dogging on each other, quit bringing each other down, and let's hope that Olympique Lyonnais stays atop, because it's very important to have a team of the stature of Lyon in Europe, just as much as it is important to have a team of the stature of Botafogo in South America. And it's best to band together, and it's best to not bring each other down. But in another way, the Botafogo and Olympique Lyonnais are tied together is Thiago Almada, whose loan is over as of today. So what is going to happen to Thiago Almada after today? Does he come back to Botafogo? Is that what he wants? Is that what the player wants? Does he want to continue in Europe and play for, does he go to Benfica like it's been linked? I guess we will have to wait and see what happens with Thiago Almada, but we will certainly welcome him back if he wants to come back. If you got here so far, please leave a comment on everything I just talked about. It's going to be kind of a longer video than I'm used to releasing, but yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I'm sure that this week will be incredibly busy for all the Botafogo journalists and channels, because John Texter's coming out swinging, and let's see who he signs to be the new Botafogo manager, because that decision will have a big impact on how the rest of the season is going to go.